All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my NFL Thanksgiving game predictions. So there's three games that I will cover that will take place this year for the NFL Thanksgiving slate of games. Starting off with the first game of the day, you'll have the 7-3-1 Green Bay Packers as they go on the road to take on the 7-4 Detroit Lions. Now, in the week one matchup when these two NFC North teams played against each other, the Packers did defeat the Lions at home by a score of 27-13. Now, as stacked as the NFC playoff picture is right now, there are a total of 10 teams competing to earn a playoff spot in the NFC. So, when you look at it, the Bears are in first place in the NFC North right now at 8-3. Though this is a must-win game for both teams as they try to win the NFC North. Not only win the NFC North, but at least get a spot in a loaded NFC conference for a NFL wildcard spot if possible. So I think this is a must-win game for the Packers and the Lions for this Thanksgiving matchup. Following game plans that I have for each team to follow, starting off with the Green Bay Packers. They got to disrupt the Detroit Lions offensive line. I think the Detroit Lions offensive line, in terms of pass protection, they rank 27th or 28th in the National Football League. Bottom tier offensive line unit in terms of pass blocking. So the Packers got a really good defensive line, and they found success disrupting the Detroit Lions offensive line week one, sacking Jared Goff 4 times in that win. They struggled, and the Detroit Lions have struggled against top-tier defensive lines all year long, that being the Philadelphia Eagles that we saw a few weeks ago on Sunday Night Football. Even last week against the New York Giants, I think the Giants still have one of the best defensive lines in football. They struggled against them as well. So I think they should pick up the blueprint of how they defeated them week one, getting home to Jared Goff and creating pressure with their pass rush. Next, I think the Packers got to win the turnover battle. Get turnovers and get defensive stops to help you win this football game against the Detroit Lions. They got to limit Jared Goff, St. Brown, Gibbs, the top tier playmakers, to limiting them to not make the big plays and making impact plays as the game goes on. I think the defense, if you watch the Packers this year, their defense is the backbone of the team. The offense is decent, but it's not as good as what the defense is. I think the defense carries this team, and if they're going to defeat the Detroit Lions Thanksgiving, they're going to have to lean on their defense for the offense that plays a little bit conservative, but can still put points on the board. I think that's going to be the key ways to victory for the Packers. Now for the Detroit Lions, protection up front. If they don't protect Jared Goff up front, don't give him time to pass in the pocket, they're going to lose this game. They're not the same dominant offensive line they once were last year. Last year, I gave them a top 5 offensive line unit. I think they were really good last year, but this is a new year. Jared Goff's got to have time in the pocket to make plays, make sure they do their job, run blocking for Gibbs and David Montgomery to make impact plays running the football as well. And also, if you're the Detroit Lions, feed Gibbs the football. I mean, he has been feasting as of late, running the football for the Detroit Lions. 219 rushing yards on 15 carries. For last week, had 45 receiving yards, 3 total touchdowns against the New York Giants last week. Single-handedly won the game for the Lions last week against the New York Giants. So I think those are the blueprints for both of those teams to follow if they want to win on Thanksgiving and have a big statement win in the NFC North division. But with that being said, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions to defeat the Green Bay Packers. Give me the Lions by a score of 27-24 to win this game on Thanksgiving. I just don't see the Packers sweeping the Detroit Lions this NFL season. The Detroit Lions are tremendous at home. They're 4-1 at home this NFL season, and they're going to be at home playing in front of their home crowd in Detroit. I think that's going to be a big boost and a big advantage for them in this football game. But the Lions' offensive line has struggled. Like I just said, they ranked 27th, 28th in pass protection this year. And the Packers have a really good pass rush. That's going to be their bread and butter for them to win this game, to disrupt Jared Goff, not give him time in the pocket to pass the football. But I think Jared Goff's going to do just enough to get his key players the football, like St. Brown and other receiving options for them. And I think they're going to lean on Gibbs in this football game. They're going to give him a lot of touches, give him a lot of screen looks, let him run the football, let him dictate the game offensively. And he's rushed for 139 or more rushing yards in his last 3 out of 5 games. So the blueprint is going to be run the football, feed Gibbs, and give Jared Goff time in the pocket to throw the football. I like the Detroit Lions winning this game in a close, competitive NFC North game. All right, next game, you will have the 6-5 Kansas City Chiefs going on the road to play the 5-1 Dallas Cowboys. Both teams are coming off big comeback victories. Week 12, the Kansas City Chiefs defeating the Indianapolis Colts at home, having a big comeback in the fourth quarter. The Dallas Cowboys defeating the Philadelphia Eagles at home, overcoming a 21-point deficit. And both the Colts and the Eagles are some of the best teams in their respective conferences. So the Dallas Cowboys and the Chiefs are coming in with a lot of momentum for this Thanksgiving matchup. I honestly think this is a must-win situation for both teams. Both teams are in the hunt for playoff seeding, especially the Dallas Cowboys. As we speak, they only have a 10% chance of making the playoffs right now. And the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have to get in as a wild card because the Denver Broncos are sitting pretty first place in the AFC West. So I think this is I think this is a must-win for both teams as we move on to Week 12 or Week 13 for this Thanksgiving matchup. Game plans for the Kansas City Chiefs: get defensive stops early. I think the Kansas City Chiefs defense is going to have to play well early on in this game, slow down the high-powered Dallas Cowboys offense that plays tremendously well at home. And if you can slow down the Dallas Cowboys offensively, you can cash in points for your team offensively. You could be in good shape and not blow a 21-point lead like the Philadelphia Eagles did Sunday against my Dallas Cowboys. So I think that's going to be a key factor for them to possibly win this game. And last, I think the Chiefs should pass the football on the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys still have issues defending the pass, in my opinion. But the defense has gotten better, but we still have a bad chance of stopping the pass against Patrick Mahomes and company. I think that Kansas City Chiefs should take advantage of the coverage zone looks that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be giving in this game against KC. If you're Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and company offensively, I would get the speed receivers like Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice going offensively in this game with a lot of screen looks, screen passes, hitch routes, slant routes. And that could open the door for them to take the top off the defense with some deep looks as the game goes on. So I think those are pretty good game plans, for the Kansas City Chiefs to defeat the Dallas Cowboys. Now, for the Dallas Cowboys, I think the defensive line has to come to play. The interior defensive line, since the Quinnen Williams trade, in my opinion, has looked like gold. I mean, the 3 defensive tackles, Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Odighizuwa, they've been really good, all 3 of them, when they're on the field together. The defensive line has played pretty well, containing the run in the last 2 games against Ashton Jeanty. When we played the Raiders in that Monday night game, I think he had under 10 yards rushing, which is crazy. And then we held Saquon Barkley to under 60, 70 yards. So in the last 2 games, we have allowed under 70 rushing yards, which is pretty good for a defense that has been gashed in the running department over the years, trying to stop the run. Next, for the Dallas Cowboys, I think we got to start off hot, start off well offensively. Early mistakes could haunt them. And you've seen that against the Philadelphia Eagles, where if you don't capitalize and put up points, you don't take advantage of what the defense is going to give you, you make mistakes, that could be a back burner for us. So we got to start off fast, put our foot on the gas pedal, and never look back. We got to get Dak Prescott going in the passing game. CeeDee Lamb, let him build confidence after he had a shaky game against the Philadelphia Eagles with a lot of drops, only 4 catches on 11 targets. That doesn't even seem real for one of the best receivers in the league. Get George Pickens going as well. Stay true to the running game with Javonte Williams as well. I think we got a really good chance of beating the Kansas City Chiefs on Thanksgiving. But with that being said, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs by a score of 30-27 in this ball game. It should be the best game of the day for the NFL Thanksgiving slate of games. Both teams are coming off impressive victories. The Chiefs defeating the Colts with a comeback victory at home, and the Dallas Cowboys coming back against the Philadelphia Eagles from a 21-0 deficit at home. I think this game is actually going to break the Thanksgiving game day viewership record. I think this is going to be one hell of a game. But the Cowboys, they are 3-1-1 at home. They play really good offensively at home. The Chiefs struggle on the road. They're 1-4 on the road this NFL season. I expect the Dallas Cowboys offense to score a lot of points against this Kansas City Chiefs defense. The connection between Dak Prescott and George Pickens has been unreal all year long. You'll see that. I think CeeDee Lamb has a bounce-back game after having only 4 catches for 11 targets last week, a lot of drops. The Dallas Cowboys defensive line will come to play as well. If we're going to win this game and lean on our defense at times and sequences this game, it's going to be because of our defensive line. And we're going to do a good job stuffing the run. I know the Chiefs get Isaiah Pacheco back, but they have not been a really good, solid team running the football all year long. I think our defensive line is going to generate pressure. I like our defensive tackles making impact plays. Quinion Williams, Odighizuwa, and Kenny Clark. And Kansas City, they're not good in one-possession games this year. Actually, all 5 of their losses have came in one-possession games. So I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs, move to 6-5-1 on Thanksgiving Day. And in the final game, the night game, you'll have the 3-8 Cincinnati Bengals going on the road to play the 6-5 Baltimore Ravens. An AFC North night game. The Bengals will be getting Joe Burrow back from injury. We have not seen him for most of the NFL season. And they will get Jamar Chase back, coming back from a 1-game suspension after spitting on Jalen Ramsey. The Ravens are red hot right now. They have won their last 5 games. They regained first place in the AFC North Division. Now, game plans for the Cincinnati Bengals. Honestly, there's only one game plan that I have for you guys, and that's to score points at will. That's the only chance that they have of winning this game, keeping up with the Baltimore Ravens offensively. I mean, they have one of the worst defenses in the league. It helps that you get a top 5 quarterback in the league, Joe Burrow back, and Jamar Chase back. The connection they've had history of destroying the defense, the Ravens defense at the bank, having some historic performances together over the last few years. So the only game plan I have for them is to score points at will and fire on all cylinders offensively. And the offensive line should protect Joe Burrow as well. For the Ravens, they got to use Lamar Jackson. He's not 100% healthy, but you got to use him the best to your abilities. He might not be 100% with that toe injury. Todd Monken should line him up a lot in the gun and shotgun, design a lot of RPO looks. When you design a lot of RPO looks that could open the playbook to get some play action looks, use his arm and legs to pick apart the Cincinnati Bengals defensively. And last but not least, run the football. I think if Lamar Jackson's not 100%, run the football with Derrick Henry. Control the line of scrimmage, push around the Bengals defensive line, and control the clock and the possession of the game as the game goes on. But with that being said, I'm going to go with the Ravens to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals. Give me the Ravens by a score of 30-20. The only reason why this game is not going to be, or the game could not be close, is if the Cincinnati Bengals don't start off hot. If they don't start off hot and the defense can't get a couple key stops, this game's going to be over and ugly and a blowout victory for the Baltimore Ravens. I expect a big game from Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. I just don't think the Bengals have what it takes to defeat the Ravens on the road. Their season is practically over at this point, but I think the Ravens are just going to turn it up and get it their 6th straight victory in prime time against the Cincinnati Bengals.